Joe, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you, man? How was your weekend?
I'm good. It was good. My my 14-year-old has never been away for more than 48 hours at the most. So and she went off to camp for 4 weeks. And so I'm kind of grappling with that mentally. It's stupid because, she always is spending the night at other friends' houses or whatever. So, and she hasn't been gone like more than 48 hours, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just kind of like, okay, that's weird. Can't, they don't
It's
have
not
any
weird, dude.
devices. They can't
Yeah.
communicate, and that's kind of like, it's just a weird perspective. And then it makes me think about my son who's going away to college in a year, this thing kind of stuff you're thinking about for your daughter, I'm sure. So,
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, that all stuff's kind of the whole like where the last 18 years go thing is kind
man.
of interesting. But I think with the camp thing, back to your younger daughter, it's that you know you, she's in an environment where she can test boundaries and things like that, but there's rules and there's constraints and things, as in
Yeah.
boundaries of like making decisions,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and you really want her to have that. I mean, we all know it, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with missing it, but it's like, and you have to sort of pivot your thinking, and not you. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I mean, for me, it's that I start thinking about where do you want her to be in 10 years, and
Yeah.
these types of exercises have to happen.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
like,
No, I'm totally
so
for her doing it. I think it's
yeah,
fantastic. I want her
it's
in there doing
scary
it.
though. It's
But it's
scary.
just, it's like, and I'm not worried about her safety. It's just, it's purely selfish. I want her to
Missing a
have
big part of your day. Yeah, missing a big part of
exactly,
your day.
exactly,
Like, what
exactly.
do I do now? Kind of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I ran into that a lot, and particularly when you stop, like, not, being their private strategy consultant, basically, and you start like you realize they sort of don't really know the take an initiative part real well because we framed up the environment for them so many times so well.
yep,
And what I notice
exactly.
is that's kind of the thing that has to be, that people pick up with experience is,
Yep,
being proactive. And they only learn
exactly.
that through being independent. So it's
Totally
sad, but
agree. And
it's what happens.
she needs more of the independence. And so I'm really glad. I'm really glad that she's having this
Well,
experience.
I'm watching my independent walk out the door right now with like some kind of crop top on and some Brazilian jeans. So you got that to look forward to.
Great.
I'm on the show with Brad and everybody else. So there's my daughter. So, but it's like you look over one day and you're like, damn, that's a woman basically. And
Yeah,
you
that's
remember this little type that you'd pick up and throw on your shoulders or over your shoulder and play Viking with or something and cart off. And
yeah.
um, and you can't do that without getting a hernia anymore.
Yeah. Niblet says being a parent is the most painful and rewarding job you could ever have. How do billions of us do it every day? And none of us have
Yeah.
training for it, right? We all go, oh shit, I'm not going to do what my parents did. And then, I mean, some of the things they did. And then, we're like, I told my kids from the beginning when they were young, I'm like, I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing here. So there needs to be no podiums, no, don't put dad up on a podium. I have some experience in pain and suffering. I'll try to pass along to you, but my job is to delete myself. So, and like, it's what you were just talking about. We got to make them, we got to get them to the point where they don't need us. So
Yeah, exactly.
he says children are terrible people.
Yeah, I know Shizzy. I mean, in the way that Shizzy is with, working, having his like profession and then at the same time putting all this time in. I mean, remember getting up at 5 and looking at stuff and then at
Oh yeah.
lunchtime and developing all this domain expertise in the DeFi and ordinal space. I
Yep.
mean, you're going to tell me that guy's not all over his kids,
Oh, please.
as a
Absolutely.
project? I mean,
Yep.
he's loving it. So,
Yep. Absolutely.
um, yeah,
Niblet
very
says,
cool.
my dad made a lot more sense to me after we had kids. All those years I thought he had brain damage. Oh, dude. The number of times a day I hear myself saying something my father would have said to me, I just cringe every time. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
they look, I mean, I look, I started the children thing late, like, 40s. So, I had a lot more life experience going in. I'm, I'm eternally thankful I didn't have children in my 20s because they would be a hot mess. So,
Well, you know, if you don't lose your virginity in your 20s, there's hardly any chance you can have
that's
kids.
probably the reason, Joe. That's probably the reason. Speaking of teaching lessons, sometimes scams hopefully will wake people up, because you almost have to be thankful sometimes that people get scammed. I don't mean that sincerely. I just mean people in South Korea invested $127 million in a blockchain for identifying dogs because of their nose wrinkles. Don't you almost have to? Nobody deserves to lose their money, but sometimes in life, you need to learn lessons the hard way. And, you know, it reminds me of when I went off to college. I think I've been there like 2 days, and some guy took me for my high school class ring and all the cash I brought to college playing fucking 3-card Monte. And
sorry, I'm not laughing at your tragedy.
That was a valuable fucking life lesson, right? And sometimes you need them. This one is so preposterous. I want to see the pitch. I want to see what the fuck these guys did to pitch. I want to see. I mean, it's in Korean, so I can't. But I want to see how they pitched this thing to get 127 million out of people.
Well, I'm going to jump into probably a dangerous area here and take a guess. And I hope it's not coming across as stereotypical or racist or anything like that. But, you know, they do have in their culinary traditions, there is a lot of dog eating that goes on in Korea.
In Korea? I thought it was Vietnam.
Well, I think it's a lot of the countries in East Asia.
Okay.
And, you know, again, I've eaten dog. Doesn't taste all right, you know, but I think maybe there's probably some like culinary people, or there's someone, remember like that pork blockchain project I was in China a couple of years ago, where they were basically somehow writing on a blockchain all the parts of butchered hogs to track them for disease stuff and things like that. Maybe there's something like that, but with dogs, not for like disease, but you know, maybe there's maybe there's a preferred dog for ranching or eating or something. I don't know. But I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. That might be too much of a stretch.
It actually sounds like it was for like identifying your pet dog. I think what got them was they were promising 150% in 100 days. And so, you know.
You're done.
Yeah.
Only 150?
Oh, Alma's here. Hey, Alma, how are you?
Oh, hey, Alma.
150% in 100 days. Yeah, okay. That's great. But anyway, hopefully some folks have learned some valuable lessons in South Korea over the last couple of weeks about too good to be true. Right?
Well, I mean, haven't we all learned that by now? I mean, that's what I don't get.
There's always, what do they say? Sucker born every minute. So,
that's right.
There's a whole new crop up behind us. Don't worry about it.
But I guess, degens are going to, shooters got to shoot, basically, so you're going to keep taking shots at it. And we do know that there's a get in early, get out early component to these, quote, investments, end quote. And maybe people were, knowing the rules of the game, are still trying to play it. And maybe you start getting burned earlier. I don't know. But there's definitely the dopamine chase, the gambling, the lottery angle. All of those things play into these offerings. I say that loosely.
Niblet says, I have a belly button lent blockchain and Pinky promise 151% return in 100 days. I think you're going to beat the dog nose and get all that money, dude. Look, I think the other thing is, that when you have a bunch of investors who are down, they may be looking for opportunity to gain back fast because they've lost so much. Yeah. And that's what Eamon went through, right? With that bit of a scam that he almost got hooked into and was able to avoid. But it's a common play. And so what's going to happen is a lot of these people are going to get preyed upon again because they just lost again. and they'll be after him. Anyway, Andre Cronje last week did an update on all things Phantom. We've talked about some of these things, but I thought I'd just run through these quickly. Gas monetization. So we talked about this. Devs earn 15% of gas fees that are spent on their apps. 16 active projects, and already 20,000 FTM has been earned so far. The ecosystem vault has 500,000 in it. Anyone can apply, he says, but what he doesn't tell you is that the voting system doesn't work yet because none of the validators actually will vote, so they can't get to a quorum. So they're revamping that. I keep checking in on them because we were working with Kilroy being one of the first projects to get that funding, and they told us to hold off and wait because that's not working well. So, and they don't even have many validators. It's like, how hard can it be to get these people to friggin' vote? But evidently it is. Over 10 million FTM has been burned via the burn fee. Their most recent hackathon attracted 855 teams. I guess they do them every quarter. And that's a pretty impressive response. 306,000 in prizes were given out. One of the best ETH client development teams moved over to Phantom, is building out a new hyper optimized client. Early tests already show a 40% throughput improvement. Well, that's interesting. Nice. So why isn't he naming them? And does he mean moved as in they're abandoning their ETH client? Most
of the stuff I see in that situation is that they're adding functionality, or adding chain. They're not. I don't really see people leaving ETH to go to Phantom. Yeah, exclusively. Exclusively.
I can't imagine they would pull their tech over unless they just felt like the tech wasn't getting traction on ETH, and they thought, why don't we get over here with Phantom? I don't know. It's strange. Niblet said, if you were starting a new project, would you start on Phantom or Canto? I would. That's a tough one for me. That's a really.
I'd go Phantom. But that's just my personal choice for
you've got
reasons.
More volume on Phantom.
Yeah.
You've got more. I don't know about active. I don't know what the active user levels are. Let me take a look at.
The gas sharing thing is really interesting because it's sort of.
You got that on Canto.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's similar to the Canto key differentiator in my mind. That was what was cool about Canto with the public commons infrastructure kind of stuff that they're playing, which I do like. Don't get me wrong, but if I was starting one today, I probably, would do Phantom.
Phantom has dropped to number 14 in TVL. At 204 million, down 14% in a month. 24-hour volume on Phantom, 8,462,906. Canto, and again, for me, the decision wouldn't just be these numbers, right? But it's the tech, it's the team, it's the model, it's the ethos. And I'll have a couple comments real quick here on Canto. Canto's down at 32 in TVL at 46.36 million and 2.8 million in 24-hour volume across the chain. That said, I had my bi-weekly Canto BizDev cluster meeting. I can't remember what we actually called it. I wanted it to be BizDev, but whatever. And there are some really amazing things coming onto Canto. One I can't really talk about, but it's going to be a major project within the functions of the system to attract a market that no chain has been overly effective at attracting. And we'll be able to talk about that in a few weeks. And then the others are things like liquid staking and a bunch of other protocol integrations into the chain that are really powerful. So all I would say is, it could probably keep dumping just like everything else, and it probably will. But for me, my enthusiasm for what's being done by the core, there are now, I think, 5 separate development teams all working on the core of Canto. And they're taking core beyond kind of like, hey, it's just a blockchain, right? They're integrating functionality that I'm really fired up about. And on top of that, you're seeing project after project still being built and released on it. That said, those low of numbers, 46 million in TVL and 2.8 million in volume in 24 hours, they're not great. They're just not great. But I do think
they're okay, dude. They're okay.
They're okay.
I mean,
they're okay. Yeah. But I think there is the potential for more. Well, actually, this is pretty interesting. You know what? I should fucking load this on screen instead of looking at it in my own world. But actually, 2.8 million isn't too bad on the overall rankings on volume. Anyway, okay. So pass governance to reduce validator minimum stake to 50,000, further increasing decentralization. That will increase the number of validators on Phantom, which is to me a really good thing. And obviously we want to increase validators for more decentralization. Wait, what did Chizzy say? Blockchain is awesome, but the dogs are really amazing. That's why I love Phantom. Our DAG's blockchain 2.0. I'm not sure what he means.
DAG is directed acyclic graph. I don't really. I mean, I know that. Is that something tied to the FTM stuff? Was it Lachase's thing?
I guess that's the EVM stuff. Oh, he's serious.
Yeah.
For anyone who don't know, I didn't know. So awesome. I think that's new EVM stuff, but he can clarify and tell us. Niblet says there's also the community uptake also, which one is more likely to get your project to a critical mass of exposure / use. Yeah. Look, on Canto, you're not going to be doing dream volumes right away. But for me, there's a longer term play with them. On Phantom, you have a chance for a bit more initially, right? So,
but also, look, it depends. If your project is more about some utility or DApp that enables the public commons infrastructure kind of plays that Canto is putting in, then that's where you'd want to go. Yeah. If your DApp requires more use earlier and more normies coming in, I mean, kind of think about it. It's hard enough for people to figure out how to get to Phantom, let alone to Canto. In the sense of not us, but people that are like, hey, let's check this out. Right. Then you might be thinking about Phantom over Canto. But as far as technologically, I mean, you know that better than I have a hard time finding, other than speed till finality kind of stuff or transactions per second. I don't really see huge differentiators there at the technological level myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think Phantom is doing a really good job of optimizing their tech and have been working on it. Shizzy just said that he doesn't think Phantom is a blockchain, that it's actually a directed acrylic graph. And frankly, I've never taken the time to understand directly how that works. But I do know that we had some conversations in the past about that.
Yeah.
Being the same as what's the other enterprise chain? Got in that whole debate in the community with
Hedera.
Yeah, Hedera. So I think those two are using similar tech, and that's what the whole debate was about. But
yeah, I remember that one.
I think that's what gives it the ability to have higher throughput, work faster, transactions settle instantly, all of that good shit.
Was that you and Michael? Who was the guy talking?
Shizzy said that's what makes it so fast and why they are moving from EVM to FVM. Right. And makes it even faster when they do. So anyway, reducing validator minimum stake to 50,000 is a really good move in from my point of view. And then they're close to releasing their two big milestones. So Carmen, which is the EVM optimized database, overall throughput is 9.8 times faster. So that makes the settlement of the transactions even faster. And then Tosca, the optimized EVM with a large range of enhancements, which they're calling an FVM, Phantom Virtual Machine. Overall, a gain of 50% over the current EVM architecture, which is a 4x throughput. So, Phantom is also doing what I want to see, which is building and making it better so that come next bull run, they're in a position to take advantage of that. And I certainly love seeing that. So, that's a good thing. Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering where does, I know Phantom is playing toward the enterprise market more as well. Along with the other groups.
Some outreach there. Yeah. I haven't had a lot of, I need to get back on with some folks over there and find out kind of really what's going on the biz dev side. Because I know they were trying to ramp that up, but I haven't seen a lot in the way of announcements over there. So I'm kind of curious what's going on. I need to go find out.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. I mean, that'd be informative is what I mean. So
yeah. Hey, Terra Classic revival plans continue. 6 engineers aim to revive the LUNC ecosystem.
You know, when that all tanked back in the day, or what, last fall, I remember jumping in at the bottom and buying some and getting like a 7x in a matter of 3 hours, and then bailing, awesome. Of course. But again, it's not a hodl play. All right, none of these to me are I just get in and get out. I don't. Maybe there's a play there like that on this one. I don't know, but you think if they're doing this, if someone's going to come in with some TVL or some way to get some movement going, and then somehow they'll be promoting to retail, and then retail will come in, and then it'll fall all apart. Yeah. So,
absolutely,
think about it.
Niblets asks, any opinions on investing and running a validator on FTM versus Canto? So number one, if you have Canto, you should be staking it in the Kilroy validator node, because we have one over there. So just look for it in the list. Put your tokens over there, folks. And secondarily, one of the things
what is that one paying, Brad? What is that one paying?
The Kilroy 13. Canto in general is at 13% right now. So it's the same for any validator you go to.
And so the validator gets a cut of that 13?
The validator gets 5% of the 13%.
So that leaves 8%, or is it 0.7%?
Exactly,
okay,
exactly.
Got it. Cool. All right. Oh, that's awesome. All right, cool.
Chuck saying Canto is difficult and has pretty harsh slashing rules. I don't know about running an FTM validator. I think that the rules on running an FTM validator are just as severe. He said, but 50,000 is reachable. I would like us to do the same thing we did on Canto to do on Phantom, and also set up a validator there. But maybe we can all talk about doing that together, Niblets. So why don't you ping Chuck and myself on the side, and we'll see what we can do. And maybe we can have community validator nodes.
Didn't they lower the threshold on Phantom a few months ago for how much?
That's what we were just talking about, that they lowered it to 50,000. Yeah.
50,000. That's right. Okay. I was thinking 28,000 for some reason. Okay.
Yeah.
And before it was at a much higher number. Wasn't it like 150 or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, 500.
Got it. 500.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Yeah. Okay.
It was a ridiculous number. And it made it so that there were so few validators. They couldn't really claim decentralization in any level. So I'm really glad this is passed. And, we should probably do Niblets. We should probably do an entire staking sub DAO here and talk through it, but let's chat later. Anyway, it's funny. I've been involved in a couple of attempted resuscitations of some coins, and they never actually go well. I will say that, from what I understand, there was nothing really wrong with this tech. It was a matter of the
LUNC?
For Luna and the way the model worked. But I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with the tech. Maybe these guys are able to try to do something with it. Frankly, I think the only people that'll be on it are the folks that are diehards still hanging out hoping something will happen. But more power to them. I'd love to see people recover that are still holding.
But also, look, don't forget, the community size they had.
Yeah.
Or have.
No, they did. I have a feeling most of those aren't around anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, a lot are going to be broken. But the thing is that you got to think, if these guys are trying to, whatever their motivations are to resurrect, that there's going to be a lot of people, like Brad just pointed out, that are going to want to try to get in and get their money back or help support the resurrection or something like that. Whereas a lot of the other ones that we've seen in the past, they don't have communities of this size.
Yep.
And so it might be interesting if, none of this, of course, is financial advice, but, if that dynamic, I used to do this in stocks years ago, when the retail herd is coming, you want to be in there.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go up by, it's supply and demand basics.
Yep.
But you can't sit around waiting. You have to trade it. So it's not, like investing in the S&P index.
Yeah, exactly.
It's playing penny stock kind of crap. So
absolutely.
you don't expect that to go beyond, set your exit point I mean, there's a lot better traders here than me, obviously, in this channel or in this show. But if you're going to do it, figure out where you're selling, basically.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I like it. I like that kind of. I like your thoughts here, Brad, because it does seem like that there might be something there. So it could be fun.
Look, it's a powerful technology foundation. So, and they had a lot of developers building that, and so maybe they can make it happen. Like I said, I'm not overly confident, but I certainly am rooting for people getting back and making something happen. And everybody loves an underdog story. So,
Yeah. And I think he's only in Macedonia in jail for 4 months, right? Didn't he just get sentenced to 4 months the other day?
Yeah, I guess so.
So, I mean, he can be like just, programming his ass off out of there.
There you go. There you go. Niblet
says, developers are really going to help.
Was Do Kwon, steady lads deploying LUNC. Have you done anything with Near? I haven't touched Near in over a year. Have you done anything there recently?
No. I mean, the only people I know that do anything with Near are the, Meta Intro folks, Lacey and her partner's name is Brad. They took a grant from Near, and they have great presences at all the shows. I mean, did I even see it? No, yeah. I mean, they were big at Consensus. And I remember them at ETH Denver. So they're out spending money and they got people, I guess, they got the right backers and everything. But, the Consensus, again, it's like Cardano or anything, or Ganto or Vantum or anything, is like, what's there? And if you build there, what do you get access to? And why would you spend time there? And I hear from the communities out there, market, water cooler chatter type stuff, that it's just not a priority to build on Near right now.
And it's weird because I actually had a lot of hope for them. They had the really simple, dumbed down wallet, which I thought was smart. They had kind of some built out incentives at first for some kind of playful stuff that they launched at the beginning, and has higher performance and all of that. But they couldn't get it. They couldn't get the critical mass of applications on the chain, and get developers developing on it enough to create shit to compel people to go to it and use it. And I think they kind of got stuck in a middle ground of like, okay, we're trying to be easier, but we're also, want to play part of the regular game that everybody's playing. And like they had big money funding, if I'm not mistaken.
A16Z,
and the whole bit. And it's like, and they're still spending the money on the marketing, but at some point you got to stop yourself and say, wait a minute, maybe we just don't have product market fit, and we need to pivot what this is and who we're going after, right? And maybe there's another play that's a real world integration or enterprise or whatever. Because I don't know. I had multiple conversations with the founders and the team, and I was really impressed with them, and they seem to continue to plug away at it, but I don't know.
Well, did you ever interview them for Mission DeFi?
No, never interviewed them. I had some discussions with them about a project I was advising.
I remember that.
Over there. Yeah.
Yeah. But there was something else about them. Were they the ones that were involved in some interesting NFT plays? West
they had
Coast
a ton of NFT activity going on over there. But
were they Top Shots, or was that Solana?
No. Top Shots is oh shit.
It's another one. Yeah, there was somebody there. Maybe it was Miss Kitty that went to Near or something. But there was some like decent.
No, Top Shots is
Cosmos?
No. What one of the founders of USDT built it. It's the chain that our buddy's Minecraft platform was on. Oh my god, dude. Wax, thank you. Holy shit. Yeah, Wax was top.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, that's another there's another chain right there, that's done a ton. And when you think about all these chains, I mean, here we always forget about even like the Waxes of the world,
Yeah. And there's too many. I mean, ultimately we know that's the case, right? There's too much. There's just too much. And some of this just has to start dying, because at some point these people have to give up. But the problem is they're all sitting on a shit ton of money that they raised. And so I'm trying to see if Wax is on DeFi Llama's list where they where they're sitting.
I think they were with like one or two protocols. I mean, I haven't looked in months, but I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah. And it's sadly, that's a really high performing platform. Unfortunately, it's a stupid interaction. $518,000 in TVL.
Yeah. Well, there you go. How much TVL's on Near since you're in there?
Let's look and see. Oof.
Like 67 or something? I'm just guessing.
Let's see. 39.22 million.
Okay, so that's less than Canto.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And Canto had no VCs.
Yeah, and then the Near's got what, 300 million or something like that? Some obscene number from all the biggest players in the world.
I mean, it's kind of speaks to what I was just talking about. It's like, how do you get off the ground?
There's got to be another strategy there that they're communicating to the VCs, but it's not a public strategy. Just like with, say, Airbnb and Uber and those guys. There's got to be another angle here they're playing. And it might be what you said about, a specific application for the chain.
Yeah. Shizzy's right. Shizzy's right. Top Shots MBA was on Flow. What was the big card trading card company that was on Wax? That's what I was mixing it up with. There was a
Japanese.
There was a big trading card company, like a big brand on
like baseball cards.
Yeah, on Wax as doing all their NFTs there. But Shizzy's right. Flow was NBA. And look, Flow found their niche, right? This kind of safe, easy, corporate, integrated rewards / collectibles platform for the other rest of the world that's not in DeFi, right? And they've played that smartly. Wax probably could have been that, but their wallets are a hot fucking mess.
Wait, is it? It's just he's saying. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to jump the comments, but Dapper Labs. For some reason, I'm thinking, isn't that the one that created Filecoin?
No, CryptoKitties.
Oh,
CryptoKitties.
I'm just going to check one thing out in here. I don't think I'll lose you guys, but hold on. I just want to see this one other.
It says there used to be 2,000 U.S. auto manufacturers, now 4. So yeah, there must be some cleanup in the process. I mean, these chains will just keep functioning, but they won't have anything happening on them, right? Well, they'll keep functioning as long as people are still running shit on them, but that won't happen forever either. All right. Okay, so I saw this article, and I had not heard about Arpa Network, or if I did, I'd forgotten about it. This project is launching with 500 million Arpa tokens for staking rewards, and nothing in this article tells you what it is, except for it allows you to conduct blockchain activities and transactions in a way that preserves privacy and improves performance. Right. So I'm assuming probably a layer 2, whatever. So I went to their website, and this is a perfect example of a horrendous job at explaining what the fuck you do and the value proposition you provide. I mean,
can you say what it's called again? It's Arpa?
ArpaNetwork.io. Like, literally.
Yeah, kind of playing on some obvious parallels there.
Yeah. But
that could get them in trouble.
Literally nothing telling you what the fuck it is. Went to the about, went to the FAQ, blah, blah, blah. It's like the worst. This is a fucking Algorand website. It's just like, we don't have a clue about how to fucking get people's attention and let them know what it is. Okay. So the folks at Genesis did write up a bit of a summary. It's a cryptographic method, like a layer 2 for blockchains, and it's a blockchain agnostic that allows developers to deploy applications using privacy protecting cryptography, and also has extra computation power, off and on-chain data storage, and some other shit. At the end of the day, the primary benefits to a developer utilizing it are you can give your users complete privacy. I haven't seen anybody say complete privacy, higher performance throughput of the transactions, and computational capabilities like random number generation, etc., that you can't get from any other layer 2s or layer 1s. So that's the idea behind it. I haven't taken a much deeper dive than that, but I would assume there's going to be some opportunities here, maybe some airdrop stuff coming up or whatever. So that's kind of wanted to bring it up. I have no inside information that that's happening. I'm just making assumptions here. It's not financial advice. Don't put money in it unless you can afford to lose it. So
yeah, did you bring up the fact that they're like running? You can apply to run a node. Did you say that already? I'm sorry, I was looking up stuff while you were talking.
I don't know how the staking works, but there is a staking reward system. So
yeah, I just see it here. They got a little survey you can fill out if you want to run a node with a questionnaire. So it's right on their website.
Okay. Niblet says, seems like a robust, decentralized, revolutionary game changer privacy network play.
Yeah.
He says Mario should have them on a Spaces. That's fucking hilarious, dude. Niblet, you just need your own comedy show, dude. Maybe you and I should do a centrist politics show, and all it does is I just throw up fucking stories for you to fucking shoot down with comedy, man. Because
that's all you guys need is something else to do.
I do. I need another show to do because I'm so good at getting my shit done. Okay. I thought this was interesting. Exodus, it's the standalone desktop wallet that a lot of people use when they first come into crypto. I still have it and have some stuff.
Me too.
One is adding sovereign dollar to its balance sheet, and sovereign is the I think I just want to make sure it's the same sovereign with a Y.
SOVRYN.
Yeah, sovereign is the same Bitcoin based layer 2. Yeah, it is. That I had interviewed in the past and that I'm actually been very impressed with, and they're aggressively getting into other aspects of this new ordinals and stuff. And I'm going to try to get him back on for another interview because it's been like a year and a half, almost 2 years since I interviewed him. But I was glad to see this because I really liked Sovereign when I first met those guys, and I'd like to see them prosper and do well. They've kind of been lost in the shadow of Stacks. So it would be good. No need to apologize, Niblets. We are happy to have your full caffeinated self with us sharing humor. It's all good. So that was good news. This was interesting. Lightning Network hits all-time high in Bitcoin and US dollar capacity. I didn't get a chance to see what the numbers are. Oh, 5,630 Bitcoin, so $172 million. And that's a growth of 42% in Bitcoin capacity, 105% in US dollar capacity over the last 12 months. Glad to see it. I don't think they are still getting to the point of solving the overall problems with how that infrastructure functions and being able to handle larger transactions, et cetera, et cetera. But I certainly would love to see it succeed. I would love for Bitcoin to have a powerful augmentation for transfers and reduction of fees, et cetera. So
a couple other things to note. Market cap's only 13 million and the daily volume was 150,000 or so.
For
Sovereign.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. It looks, I'm not a chartist or a TA person. I invite the other people in the group that are better at it. But, just looking at their 1 year chart, I mean, I don't know. It like all the other stuff Brad's saying of where they're going and what they're doing, that tells me positive. And then when you just look at it, the chart, it kind of looks like,
dying.
No, not dying. It looks like it's, stabilized at I don't even know what the terms are, but it's sort of retrenched from a high of $1, and now it's down around 42 cents, and it's been holding there since maybe April-ish.
Nice.
But with all that news, maybe it's, smart ways in and smart ways out, but, it's we talk about, so I think Sovereign might have been on one of our lists.
Yeah, I mean, they're Bitcoin based, and they're basically a side chain to Bitcoin. With focused on developers, and they've got a real kind of decentralized approach to things, and they're true believers, etc. So Niblet said, Joe, are these numbers enough to be even beyond institutional raters, or are these rounding errors? I wouldn't call those institutional, would you, Joe?
No. The only thing, if I'm not mistaken, with Sovereign though is that Sovereign does have VC investors, if I remember right. Because I think a lot of the BTC purists aren't big fans of Sovereign.
Yeah.
And I don't know who those are, but I'm suspecting it's probably some decent names.
Yeah.
So that would get them some institutional exposure there, just in people would know the name, just like probably the institutionals know the name of Algorand.
Yeah.
But, they don't know why. So that might be it. But I think if you were looking at number volumes, it wouldn't hit that filter, as you point out.
Hey, you know what's not a good idea? Building up your brand and your name for 2 years and then launching and then changing your name from Optimism to OP Mainnet. I mean, I can understand. I mean, I cannot understand. I can see how this conversation probably went. Well, we're trying to be this super chain. We're going to talk a little, if I get to it, probably not going to, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go from here to that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Optimism changes name to OP mainnet because of their super chain vision. So they've announced this ability for people to deploy. Somebody tweeted it to me this morning for people to deploy, layer 3 chains on Optimism. Let me make sure I'm speaking to that correctly before I say that.
So while you're thinking, so that sort of is like what Avalanche does with their sub chains, but they're just
I guess I just found out today some of the. I mean, I know Optimism was pushing this already, but Arbitrum actually, this was what I was wanted to get to. Was Arbitrum has also announced that they're making the ability to easily launch layer 3s or other layer 3 chains on Arbitrum. They're making it easy to do that as well, so you can have specialized chains like you were talking about for Avalanches. Their sub chains. Polygon has sub chains. BNB chain has sub chains. So all of these opportunities to deploy higher performance specialized function chains.
Quick question before we get to the branding thing. So when you do a layer 3 on Optimism, I mean, is it multi-chain in that it connects to all the other layer 3s on other chains, or do you have to go back up through Optimism or I guess through ETH to get to the other chains? I mean, these layer 3s to me almost seem like they're entirely dependent or very heavily dependent upon, kind of like the discussion we had earlier on FTM versus Canto and TVL and transactions and all of that, that if you're going to do a layer 3, you better pick a chain that's going to grow and, you know, bring in users, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, Optimism has, it says 1.3 billion in TVL. Yeah. So, you know, they're doing pretty well. Coinbase is going to launch on there. And so that's a good case.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I just don't understand driving towards this name change.
Well, Brad, you know this much better than I do, but it seems to me like, why would you pick mainnet? Yeah. I mean, doesn't everybody use a testnet mainnet? Testnet's like,
just call the product that. You can you can say, look, our entire focus is on people like Coinbase being able to build on top of us, right? We're not going to focus in the future on people building on the mainnet. So we have this product. We call it OP mainnet. And the idea behind it is that's the mainnet, and everybody else, we want to push you to build other chains on top of that. And our goal is to focus on that. But you don't have to change the whole name of the freaking project and the company and the foundation or whatever the fuck it is. I don't get it. Whatever.
But isn't there like, I mean, I love that idea. I think that's fantastic, but I just don't even like the word mainnet myself. No, I mean, isn't there another word that means like the supreme mainnet? Because everybody calls themselves the mainnet. You know, it's like it's like a generic term.
Yeah, I think it is a generic term. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And I think what they're going for is, look, we want developers to know that we have the mainnet and everything can be built on it, but that doesn't encompass this idea of a super chain. The idea of a super chain is a
supernet.
Like, something network oriented, something build on us oriented, something enabling, but not. I mean, optimism actually is a great generic term that says,
I like it.
Yeah. Whatever. Nobody called.
Well, you know, we know that well, we've talked about this repeatedly, just the lack of ability to design user offerings and interactions with the front ends of websites and projects and protocols, and it all starts with brands.
Yeah, look what Arbitrum did. They launched Arbitrum Orbit, a product that encourages people to launch a layer 3 on their chain, and they're still called Arbitrum. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. MakerDAO, I'd love to see this. I don't know how much because I haven't read this yet. But MakerDAO has reduced its dependence on USDC as collateral. The USDC platform dropped from 2.4 billion at the start of the year to 520 million now. Really, really happy to see that, unless it's all USDT, which I doubt. But
well, what was that story that you guys was in our channel today or yesterday about TUSD minting and Justin Sun and CZ? Are we saving that for Thursday? Or
that was Sean was posting up that data about them basically using TUSD to pump up the price of Bitcoin. And he thinks that this whole last week was entirely based on, well, I shouldn't say entirely, I'm putting words in his mouth.
Sure.
But was based upon this printing of TUSD in order to boost Bitcoin price. So.
Okay.
That's kind
of.
And
so, yeah. But so I guess but there was some indication about the TUSD being like, not even, hypothecated or rehypothecated assets.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Nicholas says renaming seemed to be working out well for Meta too. So
yeah,
you need a stand-up gig.
He does, man, because he delivers that tongue-in-cheek punchline so well,
dry. Man. He does a beautiful job on Twitter of it. If you're not following Niblets on Twitter, you should, because you will get to laugh out loud. So,
well, I am going to say one thing. I think 95% of the Twitter audience doesn't understand what the hell he's saying.
I know, but I
I love it though.
Oh my
God. It's over their head. It's over their head, man.
I fucking love it. It's awesome. Yeah. And ZK Sync is releasing a toolkit for building Ethereum rollups. All of this is great. We're just adding to more confusion, though. I mean, so if you think about all the chains that exist, layer 1, then you think about all the layer 2s, and now you got all the layer 2s building toolkits so that you can build on their side chain or their subnets or their layer 3s. It's like, Jesus Christ, everybody. You know what? Every human will just have their own chain.
Dude. Let's do a startup. We'll call it Layer 8. And we'll get ahead of the whole market, have time to put all the bullshit in place. So we'll start building Layer 8 chains on Layer 8. 7 chains.
It's the nuclear family chain.
That's right.
That's it.
It's the green fusion powered nuclear family blockchain. Layer 8.
You and your siblings and you and your children and your wife have your own blockchain at home.
Ultimate decentralization.
Niblet says Twitter doesn't get it. Imagine how brain damaged my son thinks I am. He says rehypothecation is being renamed Sam Bankman Free. Okay.
Yeah, rehypothecation. It's like alchemy, man. It's like alchemy. I was working one deal once, just real quick. It was like a pipeline deal, and they were, oh yeah, we have no valuation 1 week. And I'm like, okay. And then, oh yeah, we just went to London and got rehypothecated and now we're worth $420 million. And I'm like, do people believe this shit? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, go for it. But that's how crazy it is out there. Yeah, so
exactly.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is actually, speaking of Arbitrum Orbit, this new derivatives exchange is launching on Orbit as its own chain. Right. But this is like, okay, specialized function. We need high performance. We're derivatives. We want to make sure that we have complete control over this and we can alter the chain to fit our needs, et cetera. I haven't looked at Sender Chain yet, but I do like the, kind of derivative stuff. And this is a great example of, why someone might have a specialized functioning layer 3 chain and I have no idea what it's like, if it's easy to get on and off of it. From Arbitrum, right? That's the critical thing.
Yeah, I mean, don't you think too that? I mean, look, sometimes we gotta like sit there and toothpick and duct tape our way to the next chain to figure it out or whatever. Yep. I see like very little ability for a lot of people that don't know much about crypto getting there, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, could you ever envision a world where maybe it's like the old graphical user interface, the GUI stuff where, maybe there's a button on the screen or on the app that, boom, takes you right to that protocol all the way through without having to do anything.
I mean, for you. Yep.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, now you're instantly in like, all the cross-chain pieces of that application you were looking for, that one feature.
Yep.
And not wading your way through all this other crap. I mean, I just don't. Again, all the clutter that you mentioned earlier, and all the chains. It's gonna come down again to will the dogs eat the dog food, basically.
Yep.
And that is only led through UI and branding, basically. There's really not anything else there for that. And if you're falling down on that component of it, you really don't have much of a shot, to be honest.
Well, and here's the thing that brings in, right? Well, a little bit of shilling of Kilroy, but
go for it.
Kilroy will allow you to shield that, right? Because when you're using composability for cross-chain capabilities and you're using composability for functions from dApps and from protocols, you can then allow the user to say, I want to move from this to this to this to this. And then you can have all the back end do all the bullshit. And you can present to them, hey, it's going to cost you this in fees. It's going to cost this and this. But they don't have to fucking manually go through those processes, right? I mean, that's one of the primary ideas behind what we're building at Kilroy is to separate out all of the bullshit, the bad interfaces, the bad UX of DeFi, bring it local so that it can't be circumvented. It can't be hacked on a server, on a website, and allow people to build whatever they want to build without having to be Solidity developers, because we have plenty of core functionality out there, right? At some point, it just becomes math, right? It just becomes fucking math and the way you move money in and out of things. So if you can extract that away from the user and just give them a solid intuitive interface with standardized functions, and they can make use of protocols, now guys like the projects like Cinder can just build the functionality they want on the tech that they want, and we don't give a shit what chain it is, right? So I don't know if you intended to give me that opening, but you.
Yeah, no. I mean, and then I'm going to give you another one. Did you ever did Toby Rush of Redeem ever do his show yet on Mission DeFi?
Yeah, he's in the bag. We just have to
clean it up. Okay. Yep. Well, think about how with his application, I'm sure he ran you through that Fortune F1 race NFT use case. If you think about that and think about Kilroy, to me, because his whole thing is, you don't even see the crypto infrastructure at all. You just can send crypto from telephone number to telephone number at a base level. So it seems to me like there's a lot of opportunities there for Kilroy.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating. I think his primary focus, because I told him, I'm like, dude, I'm thinking of like 500 different things I could build with this thing. And he goes, we started off that way. He said, we started off trying to build all of this stuff. And then he realized that, just so everybody knows what we're talking about, it's a protocol that I just interviewed, not a protocol, it's a platform that I just interviewed that essentially allows companies in the real world that want to do NFT giveaways to people that are not crypto native, or wants to onboard people into crypto applications, but doesn't want the user to have to figure out how to get started with wallets and everything. It allows you to set up, put your phone number in a field and get a text, click a link, and boom, a wallet is up for you, and the NFT that the project was trying to give you is there. Or if you wanted to buy a ticket to a concert, same thing, same concept. Now, from my perspective, I think there's a ton of other things to build on that. He's focused on just onboarding companies that want to do this and letting the companies build from it. But frankly, I love everything they're doing, and I love the simplification of what his model is as a company. But I also think there's a huge opportunity to leverage all of these people creating wallets into much more than that. But we'll see what they decide to do. So,
yeah, it's Redeem. That was the name, right? Redeem.
Yeah.
So there's on the website. I think that's where I talked to him about it when I met him at Consensus. But I think that there was a really good F1 race example of someone interacting with an NFT and doing different experiential things at a real world event. Yeah. But then being, it's fascinating stuff. But yeah, when I see stuff like that, I just see Kilroy running in the background as infrastructure of so many of those things. To get it to that level where the consumer has to do nothing. Basically. Exactly. Other than hit a link or download something, basically. That's it. So
Niblet said, very cool. What WhatsApp did for chat. That sounds very promising. Last thing, and then we're going to cut out of here because I got shit to do. Remember how we brought up that story that the SEC was trying to get in line for their fines in front of creditors? Evidently, Gary got tired of the bad press because they're backing off on that now.
Wait. So remind me of this.
So what was happening was in court, the SEC was fighting against the creditors' representatives for their $30 million their fines to be in line in front of creditors getting paid back, right? And I ranted about it on Twitter and on the show.
I remember that,
Yeah. And evidently, after a few weeks of fucking bad press and looking like complete assholes after they already look like complete assholes, they've decided that's a bad strategy, and they're gonna relinquish and let BlockFi pay the creditors first. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a good move on their part. I mean, of course, there's nothing they can do to get any credit anymore because everybody's so sick of their act. But
exactly,
the courts just gotta, courts and public opinion. And the Hill. That's about it to rein these guys in, or at least get them to where they can define some stuff. I mean, one thing we do know is that, they aren't really working with anybody.
Exactly.
So if unless you can pay the fines, there's no sense in engaging at this point.
Exactly. It's absolutely, you're absolutely right. That's a great way to put it. You're absolutely right.
So all those people from the 17, 18 time frame, I think either they're never going to get to you, or statute of limitations is up, something. I mean, I would say, I'm sure the law, I shouldn't say that word, but I'm sure that your advisors would be telling you the same thing. Unless you can pay the fine, don't engage.
Yep, absolutely. One more story I forgot about. Last week, Jerome Powell in a hearing admitted that crypto is probably here to stay and can't really be stopped. And then the IMF has admitted the same thing. So all glad to see. Now, of course, they want to wrench it down, put KYC on it, fucking control
CBD the hell out of it. Yeah.
So they probably still don't understand it, but it's progress. And I'm going to put some of this progress back on BlackRock, right? And look, I was in some discussions last week about this BlackRock thing, and people being worried BlackRock will try to take it over, or they'll control the price of Bitcoin, or they can have too much oversized influence. And those are all legitimate fears. But right now, today, for me, the most important thing about BlackRock doing this is that the CEO is a Democrat. The CEO gives and funnels a lot of money to Democrats, and him announcing the fucking ETF. Not only did it bring on 6 other people to launch and submit to SEC, but THC the hell out of crypto. But it's going to make every elected Democrat think twice about what path they were going to as it relates to crypto. That doesn't mean it's going to stop crazy people, but it's going to definitely make every one of them think. And that's what I've been saying all along. All politics is carrot and stick, carrot and stick. You need to scare the shit out of politicians, and then you need to reward them for good behavior. That's what BlackRock is saying. Don't fuck with my business. I'm going to be in this crypto business. Transparency in finance is great, and it's important. And, I do give you guys a lot of money, so fuck off.
So do what I fucking say.
Yeah. So to me, that's a really positive move. We can figure out how to make sure BlackRock doesn't fuck it all up. But for right now, we needed these Democrats to hear the fucking message. So, but
also, look, this is from a Wall Street perspective. This is about first movers coming in and putting the flag down. I mean, not said that Fidelity wasn't there and NASDAQ wasn't there already in some ways, shapes, and form, but the fact that and I don't remember how much they have under management right now, but I think it was $7 trillion a few years ago, BlackRock. Yeah. So they got to be up around 9, 10, something like that. With that kind of money, under management, look, you're pretty much unstoppable. Okay, just to say it as politely as I possibly can.
And that's not just in the U.S. That's fucking international.
Global. That's global. Yeah. Because who do you think that money, when some Middle Eastern sheikh is sitting on, 450 billion, 40 billion, where do they want to put it? The local bank? No, they put it there. Exactly. Because they know that it'll always be backstopped no matter what, as long as there's a human civilization. Yep. But now, more importantly, is that everybody else is jumping in. Blackstone, Goldman, all these guys. Now it's all green lit. Exactly. So everybody's angling for this. So, I mean, I know this is like I don't want to generalize, say crypto, but, some of the original founding ethos of, say, Bitcoin, doesn't always fit with that vision, let's say, of Wall Street banks owning big chunks of it. The rest of it, the alts and all of that, that's, the cream rises to the top, they'll be playing there. But to me, I think it stabilizes the market. When you look at IPOs and equities, usually the this may have changed in the last decade or so, but usually you want something that was like 90% institutional, 10% retail ownership. in a cap stack on a public company. I could see like with the big cryptos, something like that you're going to want that stability. Now that is going to take the volatility down, but it's also going to take the downside out,
Right.
and like, aren't we all always waiting for shit to go to zero constantly,
Yeah.
And so it kind of will take a lot of that out now. And it's exit liquidity.
Yep.
So, I don't look at it as, philosophically, I don't have a big problem with it. I like it, but there'll always be the Cantos out there. There'll always be the next generation of ones that aren't going to necessarily play the Wall Street game or be the big play. And that's where, people can hang out and experiment. So exactly. I look at it as a big net positive. Do you share that, Brad?
No, I totally agree with you, buddy. Totally agree.
Okay.
With you. Nimbus says, so does the bull run begin when there's a 401k path into the space through Fidelity? I think it's certainly going to help. And look, I think Fidelity's fighting strong too on the side of crypto. I think they've made that bet, and end of the day, BlackRock nor Fidelity need crypto, right? So what that tells you is willingness to make that bet is more than just, hey, this isn't, today we get another $1 trillion on the bottom line, right? It's a play. It's a longer term play. Right. It has value, and they want to be in front of it. And those are two companies that aren't fucking around. So,
particularly in money. Yeah. Exactly. When they're doing that in money, and that decision has to come from the board level too. Yeah. So that means the 8 to 30 people they got up there somewhere that are all going to be massive heavy hitters. Exactly. That they've all come to the conclusion, or at least the majority has, that, crypto's here to stay. It is going to be universally adopted. It is going to gain more customers or more users. And that is going to be a very big target segment for whatever your marketing strategies are. Yep. So whoever gets out first on this is going to obviously get the most customers at the beginning. So, then all the internal applications of the tech, that expands margins and all these different units. So to me, that's a very encouraging sign.
Yeah. Shizzy said, does it begin when the 401k path into the space through Fidelity? He says, but does that end in a 2008 style crash when people treated homes as ATMs? Exposing 401k to this risk sounds, risky. Look, maybe obviously you don't want the threat to the entire financial system, but at the end of the day, you got to let people do what they want to do with their money is my personal philosophy.
But also, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And this idea that we need to be protecting people from investing in puppy nose wrinkle detection, while it sounds nice, nobody learns any lessons unless they get burned. So
yeah, and also I think that threat of say cataclysmic hits in the 401k systems, if the Wall Street guys or the big investors are owning big chunks of the big players, let's say Bitcoin, ETH, etc., that risk goes away. Yeah. In a lot of ways, because we all know how sophisticated, how smart Sean is and a few of the other people as far as charting and stuff. Well, this is going to sound, I don't want to say that they got 2,000 Seans, because nobody could have 2,000 Seans, but they got 2,000 young rocket scientists in there trying to figure this shit out. Yeah. They just don't have the experience at it, like Sean does. And so to me, that is the type of thing where you're going to have, as he always says, taking candy from the newbies, basically. That's the fight on Wall Street. They're always brawling with each other over positions and investments. So it's going to be sophisticated trader and investors on one side and sophisticated traders and investors on the other side at the institutional level, fighting to eke out quarter point gains and, protecting against quarter point losses. That stabilizes price in a way that, we can't do right now. No, it takes away all the fun for the traders, basically, but there's always going to be that fun. You just got to embrace the altcoins more.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing, right? If they stabilize the big majors, Bitcoin and ETH, to me, that's probably a good thing. And then we can all go fuck around with alts. And then there's a disconnection. There's no more direct correlation all the time, right? Because that's the risky plays. You go play with the new shit, the exciting shit, the innovative shit that's coming along, and the meme coins if you are so inclined. So,
and that's what turns Bitcoin into a risk off asset as more like a gold, because that stability is then there.
Yep.
And when that happens, then all of a sudden the increased demand for wanting to own that is what drives price up.
Yep.
Because there's never, So, I feel, again, me, I'm always positive, but I feel a little bit more positive when I hear news like that, because I'm going, well, I haven't been like beating my head against the wall for 5 years for nothing.
Exactly.
That the big money's coming, where everybody who has a decent position, all of us small retail types, can get a nice exit.
That's right.
And be rewarded for all that time we spent and all that PTSD we incurred over all these various downsides. Go ahead.
Shizzy says, rumor is Fidelity is in talks to buy Grayscale. Is that a good play, getting the Michael Sun and Shine out of crypto? I have no idea what Grayscale's current condition is, so I don't know if that's a good play or not. I mean, certainly cleaning up the messes is a good thing as far as I'm concerned. But Joe, do you know anything more about?
No, I don't really know much more about Grayscale today, where they are. But I'll tell you one thing that would be attractive to me would be all the customers. Okay,
Sure.
so who invested in Grayscale 2 to 3 years ago or 4 years ago? Well, no, I guess that was 21, spring of 21. So, or winter 21. Yeah. Those people, whoever was making those bets, I want to be banking those people.
Yeah.
So it almost would be worth it, because you're buying the underlying assets, Bitcoin, and there's some formula for how it, comes back into the market or whatever. But I think those customers are more valuable than the underlying holdings myself.
Yeah.
And if you could get them in, you're going to be, have an anchor tenant basically of presence. So, I mean, that's what I'd be thinking about. And then attracting, trying to do a value buy of some sort.
Yeah.
Because at the end, you're capturing a pretty big stack.
Yeah. Totally.
If you can pull that off. So
no, that makes complete sense, dude. Totally agree. All right.
All right, we should probably.
I'm wrapping it up, Joe.
Yep. Good. Yep.
All right. Why can't I move these? I don't know. Okay. Thank you everybody for participating. Niblets, Shizzy, Alma. Was that it for today? No. Did I miss no, we're good.
Yep.
Okay, thanks so much for participating. We appreciate you guys being here. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate and review us. It'll help boost us in the algorithm and help us grow the show and let more people know about it. If you're watching on YouTube, please smash that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and click the little bell so you get alerts about new episodes. If you're not in our community, thank you, Shizzy. Shizzy says, great show, guys. Thank you. If you're not in our community, you're missing out on tons of good analysis. You're missing out on getting the scoop on shows that Shizzy is doing for his show. You're missing out on more of Niblet's dry humor and some of his analysis work, and really just a lot of fun. I also added a music channel over the weekend because I wanted to shill some shit I had seen recently. And so I encourage everybody to get in there and give us your musical picks. It's a lot of fun hearing everybody's kind of preferences and tastes and history in music. So pretty fascinating.
You're the big Meghan Trainor fan, right? Meghan Trainor fan?
That's it. Taylor Swift and Meghan Trainor. T.me/mission DeFi. T.me/mission DeFi. If you're not there, you're missing out. That's all I got to say. Great discussion, small group, smart people, a lot of fun. Don't miss out. And thanks to everybody that has been participating in the community. We'll see you tomorrow, Joe.
Yeah, buddy. You have a great afternoon, and thanks everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody be safe.